The wait is finally over. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Against the Fence, where, of course, this is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. And in tonight's new show, we've got a few things we want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler and the fact that that fight is now set and we have a date, we have a venue. It's been confirmed by the UFC as of Sunday. We'll talk about Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. We'll talk about Strickland versus Costa. We'll talk about a back and forth between Max Holloway and Tora as well. Welcome on in. Hit that like button if you've not done so already, guys. And hope you guys had a nice UFC 300 Boxing Day yesterday. Because I know I was at home recovering after that full card watch along. It was an absolute blast. If you weren't able to catch any of it, I do recommend that you go check it out after this stream, because it was probably one of the, if not the best watch along that we've done yet, and the excitement just keeps on coming here over at Against the Fence. So let's go through then what we're going to talk about in this video. Let's head on over to this scene here, bosh. And talk about then the first thing. Strickland versus Costa got announced for June 1st in Newark, New Jersey, on the same card as Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. The fight was kind of agreed via X, I believe. They both agreed to fight each other. The only question I've got coming into this is, how comes Costa gets to fight up in the rankings again after coming off of another loss? It's 2 in a row, and he's fighting the former champion. Look, Strickland is as game as they come. He's willing to fight anybody. But on the other hand, it is a bit of an exciting fight stylistically, really, isn't it? You know, you got Costa, who's quite powerful. He's quite physical. He was unlucky against Robert Whittaker, and it's purely because he couldn't really manage the distance very well against Whittaker. You know, Whittaker's an absolute pro at that, and he just kind of fell short. And of course, he clipped Whittaker at the end of round 1. Wills came close there, but Whittaker just kind of outstruck him in rounds 2 and 3. So, you know, against Strickland, who's somebody a lot different, complete opposite to Robert Whittaker, he's going to bite down on his mouthpiece and just come forward and keep coming and remain defensively sound. He's so good at that. It's kind of like an ideal matchup for Costa in a lot of ways. And if he doesn't get the fight done, then, you know, it'd be hard to see what's kind of next for him in a way. You know, but I felt that perhaps he needed somebody to, you know, someone who's coming up and coming like an Imavov instead of someone like a former champion in Strickland. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on that when it got announced and I woke up and read the news. Second thing I want to talk about is Poirier versus Max Holloway potential fight, which a lot of you want, and I can kind of see it. It would be exciting. But they kind of went back and forth on X. Ilya tweeted, "Congrats on the performance, Max. Respect your story and everything you achieved with a beautiful family. Hopefully we're going to share the octagon before the end of the year." That's a key part in that paragraph. "And trust me, you're going to feel something that you never felt before. I will be the first to take your lights out." In which Max replied, "It's all love, champ. I'll be seeing you soon." And of course, another Bible verse there. So they're kind of atting each other. But I don't really understand that. So I was the man that you got to talk to about that. But yeah, they went back and forth. And look, I would love to see that fight one day. I really would. I think that, you know, maybe if Tora does beat Volk again, then Max is next in line. And it sounds like Max kind of wants that fight next, perhaps. I personally think after watching that Getty knockout that he should really try himself at lightweight now, because he's really filled into that weight class, which he wasn't able to kind of do prior to the Dustin Poirier fight, because I think he took it on short notice. So, and look, he could put himself in line. He just beat the number one contender in a lot of people's eyes. So he could have just stolen the shot there at lightweight from Islam Makhachev. But, which fight do people want to see more? Would you rather see Max fight Islam Makhachev, or would you rather see him fight Ilia Topuria? I think Ilia Topuria is a much more exciting fight, and maybe a more winnable fight in a lot of people's eyes. We were talking about the MMA triangles this past weekend during the watch along. Could we see a scenario where Volk beats Max beats Ilia, and Ilia beats Volk perhaps? Time will tell, of course. Ash says, I still think Islam ragdolls Max, and yeah, I got to kind of agree on that one. I really do. I think he does. And that's the reason why that fight doesn't really excite me. So maybe perhaps towards the end of the year, we'll get to see that one. Next up then, let's talk about Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier, because it got announced and there's a lot to kind of digest here. The date is set for June 1st, 2024 at the Prudential Center in New Jersey. Sorry, getting my teeth in today. This is just all the energy drinks from the weekend. Just kind of a massive crash, I'm afraid. My brain's just still catching up on itself. The only thing that kind of made me think after this fight was announced was, did Justin Gaethje drop the ball? Because we kind of felt that as soon as Max walked away with the knockout there. He really did. Except in the fight against Max, in terms of career-wise, probably not the best move. Financially-wise, well, how much did you get paid for that UFC 300 is the question, really. Because compared to how much you would probably get paid on an Islam Makhachev card. Because who's a bigger draw? It's hard to tell who's a bigger draw now after Alex Pereira got that knockout against Jamal Hill. But it's probably got to be pretty close now, right? Islam's very popular in, of course, a lot of the Muslim countries, in Dagestan and all of Russia, and of course Abu Dhabi and that. So he draws a lot of eyeballs. So against him, you would probably expect a pretty good payday, right? I think he has kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Surely for third fight on the main card, he wouldn't have got too much. I don't know how these pay structures work. I haven't really looked into that as of yet. But also one thing that came out of UFC 300 was Arman Sarukian has recently said to Ariel Helwani that Hunter Campbell came up to him after the Charles Oliveira fight and offered him Islam Makhachev as the next fight for him. But would the UFC... Do you think there's any truth in that, though? I kind of, seeing it firsthand, felt like I believed him. But it got me thinking, would the UFC really choose Sarukian over Poirier? Surely Dustin Poirier is a bigger name for Islam Makhachev at the moment. I mean, even though Gaethje completely head-kicked him and sent him into another dimension, I still don't know who's more popular, Poirier or Gaethje. Of course, maybe it could be Dustin Poirier because he's a bit more well-known to casual fans because he fought Conor McGregor and, of course, beat him twice. So, yeah, you think maybe he's the bigger draw for Islam, and it's probably the fight that they've had in the pipeline for quite some time now because of scheduling reasons and the fact that they weren't able to make the Justin Gaethje fight for Islam at UFC 300. So I think that Dustin Poirier is a better option, height-wise. Stylistically-wise, would have loved to have seen Arman Sarukian run it back with Islam. I've said this before, and I think it is a fight for the ages, really, in a lot of ways, because I think Sarukian's improved a lot. We've seen improvements in Islam's striking since their first fight, and I think overall it's a high-level MMA chess match, especially when it comes to the strongest aspect, which is the Sambo wrestling style of Islam. And there's only one person in this division who I think can match it, and it's Arman Sarukian. So it's the reason why I would prefer that fight. Drew Makhachev's in the house. Yes, my man, who says Benoit Saint-Denis took Poirier's back. Poirier has no chance. And yeah, again, I guess the other thing is thinking about this is the reason why I'm not too excited about Makhachev fighting Poirier is because we've kind of already seen that match played out. I mean, how much has Dustin Poirier really improved since he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov? You know, do we not, as fans, think that perhaps we're gonna see another repeat? On the other hand, we were proved wrong this weekend because you guys, including me, doubted Max Holloway and didn't think he was going to get it done. And the reason why I didn't think that Max was going to get it done is because we saw how Max looked against Poirier, and we saw that power was the issue in that fight. However, against Justin Gaethje, completely different fight. So, you know, maybe there is something different that Poirier can offer Islam Makhachev. And of course, I think the one thing that kind of would make us doubt a little bit is the fact that Islam's sambo is similar levels to Khabib. And Khabib wanted to do one thing and one thing only, and that was get the fight to the ground. Islam's a bit more confident in his striking, but could that lead to his downfall in this fight perhaps? Could he get too overconfident on the feet? Get clipped by Poirier. That's all I'm going to say for now. But if I'm Islam, you've got to take this fight to the ground as soon as you can. Do exactly what Khabib was able to do against the cage. Dagestani handcuff, ground and pound, take the back and get a rear naked choke. Or, of course, transition to a triangle choke, which Khabib was able to do. I think it was against Gaethje, wasn't it? I keep forgetting which submission. It was he rear naked choked the Dustin, didn't he? I think, yeah. Islam likes to stand. He does, exactly. So who knows, guys? Who knows? That's all I'm saying for now. But yeah, smash a like on the video, guys, if you've not done so already, and of course hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Now then, let's move on to then the final story of the evening, of the video. Finally got announced. Conor McGregor will be returning against Michael Chandler at UFC 303 T-Mobile Arena, June 29th. I predicted there would be 2 pay-per-views in June, and it's been confirmed now. We've got Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier at the start of June, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at the end of June, and that month is hotting up. It's going to be madness. Man, June is going to be phenomenal. But also on the card, not to mention, we've got to mention these names because there's some good fights. Andre Fili versus Cub Swanson thus far. Michelle Watson-Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. That's going to be epic. I think Gillian Robertson might just edge it in that fight on the ground. She's quite a bit of a veteran, really. She's probably, I wouldn't say she's the youngest out of the female fighters, but she's a vet and still hanging in there and still tapping people out. And I think she's going to get a submission against Michelle Watson-Gomez in that fight. Andre Fili versus Cub Swanson. You kind of want to root for Cub in a lot of ways. Andre Fili needs to bounce back, though. Tough one to call, personally. But the fight between McGregor and Chandler, gotta ask, guys, is anyone excited to see this fight? I mean, now that it's finally made, because it's just kind of been drawn out for so long. You know, has the novelty worn off on this fight? Because, you know, it should have happened already, and I feel like we should maybe have moved on from it. I feel that McGregor versus Holloway is more exciting at this point, right? But I think that this fight, did it say that this fight was going to be contested at welterweight or middleweight? I've not actually seen it. Let's see what Wikipedia says, because surely they're right. Welterweight at the moment. They've got it down as welterweight, which hopefully it is, because, you know, Conor was teasing us and telling us that he'll fight Chandler at middleweight, and he's trying to get bigger and bigger, but I don't know. Size in the house says Sharma. I think he's a Pereira fan now, by the looks of it. 3 Sharmas means you're a Potown fan. He says, question, out of all the now possible matchups post UFC 300, which would be the which would you be most excited for? Potan versus Aspinall, Holloway versus Topuria, Holloway versus McGregor as an option. Out of those options, most exciting factor would probably be Holloway versus Topuria. I just think it's a closer fight, really. I don't really want to see Potan versus Aspinall for a lot of reasons. I don't think it's going to make sense. Really, I think heavyweight's going to be too clogged up for that fight. Holloway McGregor is maybe if Conor comes back and smokes Chandler, I think it kind of needs that to happen. Personally, I can't see Max at welterweight, and I can't see McGregor cutting down to lightweight ever again. Look, I love to see it, but I just can't see it happening, really. But yeah, McGregor versus Chandler, prediction-wise, very hard to tell because Chandler likes to get himself into some brawls. He could be susceptible to Conor's left hand because of that. Conor could put him out, and I do think stylistically it's a really good matchup for Conor. It's just whether or not ring rust is going to be a thing for him in this because he's been out for so long now. He's not been as active. Chandler's been out for quite a while as well now when you look at it. So, maybe it could be quite a tentative bout. Chandler's not going to kind of catch Conor and do damage like Poirier did, I don't think. In a way, you'd want to see reminiscent of McGregor versus Chad Mendes, perhaps. That's what I can see anyway. So, for now, I will go pick Conor and hope that he gets the win purely because, look, we want Conor to win. It'll do wonders to bring this people back to the sport, the casuals. So that's why I'll go with Conor for that reason. All right, guys, that's basically all I've got time for in tonight's episode then. Let's head on back. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And make sure you join me tomorrow night. We're going to be going through more stuff post UFC 300. We'll go through some future matchups for winners and losers and make those predictions, maybe weigh them up, see who we fancy out of them, and see who you guys want to see next. And what fights you guys want to see next, of course, because this is the one channel where fan opinions matter most. We're a community, we stick together, and we voice our opinions, and that's what it's all about over here Against the Fence. All right, thanks for joining in. Stay tuned for tomorrow night and get some good rest. Don't stress. Bye for now.